The latest Powerball jackpot total is currently 1.8 billion with a B dollars. 1.8 billion dollars. You still have time. If you haven't bought a ticket yet, go get a ticket. I have not bought a ticket yet myself, but I plan to. My point is, if you've ever bought a lottery ticket, there is that sweet, magical period of time between the time you purchase the ticket and the time the 6 or 7 numbers pop up and dash your hopes into tiny little shards of, well, dashed hope. Um, you allow yourself to luxuriate in what if I won the lottery? Huh? What if I won 1.8 billion dollars? And you think about, okay, well, I'm going to take the lump sum first. Then you think about, well, first you think about, how am I going to even react to this? Oh my God, this is shock. Maybe you might faint. You make sure you don't tell everybody. You don't post it on social media, because then you're going to be harassed by everybody and the cousins and aunts and uncles you never knew you had. You think about how it's going to change your life. You allow yourself to daydream about, okay, I'm going to get security. I'm going to get a financial planner. I'm going to invest. Because if you invest like, I don't know, $100 million, you could live off the interest. You know how many times I've had this scenario? A lot. What's my point? My point is, this past Friday night, half of America allowed itself to luxuriate in the thought that Donald Trump had passed. It allowed itself, these millions of Americans pondered, where is Donald Trump? What happened to him? We know he has a bruise on his hand. We know he's dragging his leg. He's got cankles. He's got some kind of apparatus hooked up. Where is he? We hadn't seen him in 24, 48 hours. This guy who you can't get to shut the hell up was missing. And the reporters, of course, the media, they failed again. Nobody bothered to ask these questions that we were all wondering. Where is this guy? Labor Day weekend. Nothing. Now, of course, in every Weekend at Bernie's administration, there are people who can control the social media account. So you'll have weird posts like you'll see him post "good night," a tweet that says "good night" in all caps. And another tweet that rambles on about some nonsense that Donald Trump would never, ever say. And that just kind of adds to the frenzy, the fervor. It should say something that the Trump administration, allowed millions of Americans to go into Monday morning. This was Friday night. The terms, is Trump dead? Trump died, and no one mourns the wicked. We're trending. The Trump administration allowed these millions of Americans to go into Monday pondering whether the president of the United States was still amongst the living. Now, of course, plenty of people started prematurely celebrating. I'm not here to cast any shame or blame on anyone. In fact, quite the contrary. I'm here to tell you that Not only is it okay that if you acted like that, if you were surprised, if you were found yourself feeling a little bit gleeful, if you found yourself feeling a little bit hopeful that such an, an unimaginable thing occurred, not only is it okay, it's normal. It's normal. It's normal in the way that when someone's torturer, when someone's abuser is no longer able to torture and abuse a person, that person who was being abused is rightfully hopeful, relieved. I think relief is probably what it was. So we found out, obviously, on Tuesday morning that the celebration was premature and he is still with us. But today in today's show, we are going to get into why so many people were relieved, gleeful, cheerful that the trolling president of the United States was no more. So we're going to get into that. I hope you're ready to, because I am. Let's go. Story time. Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday indeed. You made it to the end of yet another week. If you are watching or listening right now, that means you survived. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. Because if you survive to the end of the day or end of the week, that means, there's hope. There's always hope. As long as you are breathing, as long as you have will in your body and breath in your lungs, and that's hope for a better day tomorrow. My friend Zelda, thank you so kindly for the generous, kind donation. Thank you so much. I understand that our friend Zelda is hanging in there as much as she can so that she could catch these jewels of wisdom that I have done dropped in the first few minutes of the show, and then she's going to celebrate her daughter's birthday, which I believe is tomorrow, is her 24th birthday. Congratulations to your daughter, Zelda. And thank you again for the kind, generous donation. Also, thank you to my friend who dropped a donation early on while you guys were in chat prior to going live. So thank you, Diane, for the kind donation as well. And I believe we even got a super sticker purchased by our friend Blue Lady. So Blue Lady, thank you too. Let's see who we have here. We have, of course, Zelda right there at the top. Meredith Powell is here. Valerie G is here. Let's see. There's Blue Lady, of course. Lucy L. Bernadette H is here. Shelby is here. Let's see. I see somebody saying hello. Bernadette said hi to Ness from Connecticut. So Ness from Connecticut is here. Joanne Kennedy is here. Samantha Hawkins is here. If I didn't do that scrolling music, would you guys be nervous? What's wrong with BDD? He's not doing the scrolling music. Taboo Forte is here, made it to another one. Thank you very much. Let's see. Monique Lee, there she is. Let's see. Brad Soke. I'm still not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I never, but there he is. There's Brad. Sharon Landry is here. Punxsutawney Mo. Punxsutawney Mo is here, folks. Let's see. I saw some really fun comments. Asmila J, there you go. There she is. Patricia Haverkamp, there she is. Queen of the South. She's here. It's Tracy M, aka Nurse Mitch, is here. Let's see. Yeah, the comments I saw, one was from Meredith Powell. She was talking about, I guess she was referring to my comments about Trump being missing, and then I guess the conversation turned to JD Vance, who is nobody's nobody's idea of a good stand-in ever, ever, ever. Cecile Kazemi, I see you, my friend. And she said, she started talking about when they switched Darrens in Bewitched. And I didn't like the second Darren. Never liked him, never will. The first Darren is the only Darren, in my opinion. I am team Darren 1. Foxhill Dreams, I see you, my friend. Let's see. Okay, so without further ado, let's see. Okay, so we got some things to get into. I'm gonna break down the whole trolling president thing, and it's interesting because when you have a number, let's say a dozen, and a dozen doesn't even begin to cover it. There are more than a dozen very serious issues facing the United States right now, more than a dozen. But the president of the United States is basing his decision making on whether or not it's going to make libs cry. And it's childish, it's petty, it's insane, because it is catering to a very small faction of his base. I'm pretty sure that there are a good number of MAGA who don't give a shit about trolling progressives, Democrats, liberals. I'm sure there are some people who are MAGA who voted for Trump literally because for some reason, still believed that he had the answer to their fiscal concerns. They didn't get the answer from the Democrats, so they're like, you know what? Let's see what Donald Trump has, right? He was a successful businessman. I don't see why anybody gives him any credit for being a good businessman at all. He went bankrupt 6 times, and so many of his business says failed. Casinos. Why is anybody saying he's good at business when he failed at casinos? It's crazy. That's just insane. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump on into this thing that I like to call stories of the day.
Stories of the day.
And of course, I just realized that I had not even uploaded my PowerPoint file. So allow me to make some inane conversation while I wait for this thing to finish uploading. But no, seriously, casinos. Casino. That's crazy. All of the things that he's slapped his name on and just said, well, let's hope that because it says Trump, people are stupid enough to buy the gold sneakers. Whatever happened to those gold sneakers? I don't see any kind of update, no news article saying that those gold sneakers are a big hit and they sold out. Did they even produce them? How many people want to know? Reporters, man, come on, get on this thing. Did the reporters, did the people who ordered the sneakers, was it 100? Did 1,000 people? I want to know, did 1,000 people pay money for those gold sneakers? How many people bought the Trump Bibles? I need to see numbers on this stuff. But anyway, here we go. I am quite proud of this graphic. Troll president divides America. And if I have any Trump trolls out there watching the show right now, they're like, what do you mean Trump is bringing the country together? if you think Donald Trump is bringing the country together, the only way that that's a true statement is that it's bringing the country together in its loathing of his silliness, of his pettiness, of his trivial, his frivolous attitude towards things that should be important. He's got a very stubborn, pig-headed attitude about these tariffs, for one. And the tariffs are killing people. Anyway, let's see what we have here. We have, okay, so trolling reason number one, he has stated that he is concernicus about crime, so he is deploying the National Guard to cities, but only to blue cities or blue-led, Democrat-led cities only, despite the fact that there are plenty of cities in red states that are like overrun with where they have the highest murder rates. He has chosen the worst possible candidates for his cabinet. It's almost like picking what was the name of that famous the famous Hannibal? It's like picking Hannibal Lecter to be in charge of your vegan club. These things make no sense. You put an anti-vaxxer in charge of health and human services. It's insane. And then, of course, you have the Epstein, the Epstein files that he is now referring to as irrelevant, a Democratic hoax. And then when the survivors, the Epstein survivors, the women who were children at one point, when they gathered the strength and the courage that was necessary to expose themselves, to put themselves out there in front of the American public, what does this jackass troll do? He schedules a flyover to drown out their voices. This is a troll, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, this troll has said many stupid things. In fact, that's all he says now are stupid things. So we're going to do our best to pick out the stupidest, the dumbest Trump comment of the week. And before I forget, please make sure that you hit the like button and you also hit the subscribe button, which is in the lower right corner of your screen. Please and thank you. Excuse me. This past week, my Substack, I enjoyed writing this a great deal. It's called Is Trump Finally Gone? Why We're Secretly Cheering. Some people not as secretly as others. His disappearance sparks joy. Here's why you shouldn't feel bad. And as always, I'm going to read a little excerpt for you guys so you can see why I'm so thrilled with this piece here. In the initial hours of his disappearance, heading into the weekend on Friday night, the search terms "Is Trump dead?" and "Trump died" triggered a palpable sense of excitement on social media, not unlike hearing that someone had the winning ticket for Powerball. They hadn't figured out who yet. The memes were buzzing. There was a ding dong, the witch is dead, premature celebration brewing, and the sober buzzkill voices would caution people not to revel in the possible demise of the President of the United States. They were attempting to make people feel guilty for this not waiting to exhale moment. And I'm here to tell you, don't feel guilty about it. So, right around 12:39 a.m. Friday night, early Saturday morning, I'm scrolling through. I had just finished watching. It's pizza and movie night for me, so I'm not on Twitter. Seriously, after like 7:30 or whatever, I'm off. I'm eating my pizza and my wings, and I'm watching a movie tonight. I'm excited about tonight's movie. But just fear of missing out, FOMO, drives me back to my phone, and I look on Twitter, and what do I see? I was like, holy shit! What WTF happened? I jump off Twitter for a few hours, and now I'm seeing all these tweets that Trump is dead. What did I miss? So, what happened? What's going on? Why is everybody so happy? And I believe in karma. I believe in karma. So I kept my posts subdued and carefully calibrated not to sound celebratory. I'll tell you guys something, right? If you're new on Twitter, beware, because there are trolls whose main mission is to get you so mad, to make you so pissed off that you say something like, one day I told a troll to eat a bag of dicks. and they reported me. They reported me for that. So petty, so small. And so I was suspended for like 6 or 8 hours or something. And that was the longest I think I've ever been suspended. I think that was the only time I've been suspended. But ever since then, I watch what I say, and I keep in mind they are trying to get me to Meredith Powell says she saw Weapons. I'm excited about seeing that movie. All right. So I am careful about what I say since then. And I'm always careful about what I say as far as karma is concerned. Like, let me tell you another thing. When I'm driving somewhere and the family is all in the car, so wifey and the kids are in the back, and we happen to see somebody get pulled over for whatever it was, speeding or running a red light or something, we never ever say, even though the temptation would be there, somebody else got busted. We don't say that, no. And if anyone does, we all give them the evil eye and we knock on wood. So let's dig into to suggest that others should feel guilty for feeling joyful if he had met his end. Let's dig into that, okay? For starters, Trump is possibly the most objectively nasty and negative person many of us have ever known in the entirety of our lives. He revels in the misfortune of others. It is his brand and part of the reason so many Trumpers have voted for him. It's true. It is absolutely true, because I don't know, have you guys seen some of these videos that Jimmy Kimmel will show where they test the limits of what would Donald Trump have to do to lose your vote. And there's so many people, so many Trumpers that say nothing. There ain't nothing he could do. How about killing somebody? No, if he killed somebody, he probably had a good reason. They probably had it coming, and so on and so forth. The only reason most of these folks support Donald Trump is because he hates the people they hate. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. He is the middle finger they have been waiting for. He's that rude jackass that gets to say what they want him to say and gets away with it. He constantly gets away with it. So they don't care about his lying. They don't even care that he called them weak and stupid for still wanting to see the Epstein files. And he promised them. He promised them that. And they're still backing him. Now, with that said, they're not all backing him. Some of them have abandoned him. Some of them have gotten a peek behind the curtain and they don't like what they see. So let's go back to this here. Conservatives, you think you can just joke about the death of our sitting president? Normal people. Yeah. So the graphic that I had for the for my Substack, some of you might recognize this image from Die Hard. It is the end of Die Hard. If you haven't seen it, and this is a spoiler for you, I don't know what to tell you. This movie is from 1980 something. It's an old ass movie. Shame on you. But yeah, this is Hans Gruber, the villain of the first Die Hard movie, and he is plummeting to his death, falling from the top of Nakatomi Tower. And even with his last bit of something, he tried to shoot John McClane. Yeah, as he's hanging for dear life. That's what he's using his energy for, to try one more time to get John McClane. Who knows? Would John McClane have pulled him up if that jackass didn't try to take him out? We'll never know. But I'll tell you this: nobody in the audience, and I've seen this movie dozens of times. Nobody in the audience mourned for Hans Gruber because he's a bad man. Period. And we don't have to split hairs about Donald Trump being a bad person. He is objectively a bad person. Now, should we feel sorry for him because he's got maladies? Because he's got him little bruised hand and his cankles? No. Why? Because Donald Trump not only has billions of dollars, mind you, he's become $5 billion richer from his crypto scam since becoming president. Not only that, he has access to the best healthcare that money can buy. Walter Reed Medical, whatever. But also because his so-called big, beautiful bill cut Medicaid so that the poorest people in our community, the poorest, don't have access to a fraction of the good health care that he gets. So do I give a shit about him with his bruises? No, I don't give a shit about it at all. So his administration has not been transparent about his physical condition. It's left everybody wondering, and I'm wondering, reporters, which one of you, what do we have to do to get one of you to summon the courage to ask this dude what is wrong with him? Huh? You were the same people who failed us when his ear healed magically, and nobody asked the question, how the hell did your eel hear? Excuse me. Excuse me. How did your ear heal in 10 days after a bullet should have ripped it in half? How? Nobody asked him that. So here we've got doctors all over Twitter and nurses and whatever. Everybody's got an opinion about it. One person said Donald Trump is currently battling congestive heart failure and chronic kidney disease. The state of his health is deteriorating. In the event that his kidneys fail, he may have to undergo hemodialysis. Who knows if this is true? I don't know. Nobody knows. But nobody knows what's going on with him at all because, again, he is not disclosing it. I don't see why not. He cannot run for a third term. So be honest. You're already a lame duck. Just let the American people know we have the right to know whether or not a Darren 2 is waiting in the wings. Let's talk about his picks for cabinet. You can only surmise that. Look, if you want to pick a great team and you have access to the best people in the country, the best minds, well, if you're Donald Trump, maybe you don't have access to those people because maybe those people have a sense of dignity and they would not allow themselves to ever work for you. And that leaves you with the dregs. And so you have to make it look like, yeah, sure, Kash Patel was my number one pick for the FBI. Actually, no, that was Matt Gaetz. Or wait, was Matt Gaetz the pick for... Matt Gaetz was his pick for Attorney General. And Matt Gaetz, before he ended up settling on the cheerleader Pam Bondi, Matt Gaetz, Captain Venmo, is the guy who is alleged, have to say alleged because it's legal, he's alleged to have spent money to rape an underage girl. Yeah, it's not sleeping with. It's not having sex with. If she's underage, that is rape. Period. Linda McMahon. Linda McMahon is the Secretary of Education. She thought that AI was A1. She thought it was a steak sauce. Yes, she did. Pete Hegseth. Where do I even begin with Pete Hegseth? Pete Hegseth, what do they call him? Keg's Breath. There's so many different nicknames for this guy who was a weekend Fox anchor who has already had multiple scandals under his belt because he can't figure out how to communicate securely. So he's communicating on Signal and sending out everything to reporters and whatnot. On and on and on I can go with this, with his abysmal cabinet picks. And the only reason you can possibly imagine that he picked this motley crew of clowns is to troll progressives, liberals, Democrats, because he knew we'd be like, that's crazy. And what's wrong, ladies and gentlemen? What's wrong with despite the fact that you despise this president, what's wrong with wanting him to have a halfway decent team? Because at the end of the day, guys, we're all in this boat together. It's going to sink or it's going to float. You want it to float because, again, we're all in the same boat. Some of us have better seats, have a better view, but at the end of the day, if this country goes down, we all go down with it unless we leave the country. So, yeah, you want his team to be halfway competent so they can deliver some halfway decent results for everybody and not just a fraction of the population. So I turned my attention to RFK Jr., who is an embarrassment. This guy is a complete embarrassment. And where do you start with Robert F. Kennedy? Do you start with the brainworm, that ate part of his brain and then they found it dead in his brain? Do you start with the dead baby bear that he picked up? It was roadkill. He picked it up, he put it in his car, he drove around with it in the trunk of his car. Then I guess he was going to cook it or something, but then he forgot that he had a flight to catch. And so he decided to drop it off in Central Park and leave it and blame it on some homeless people. And this, again, is not something that I just made up or some liberal made up. It's a story he told. Like nobody was even asking him about this. And he was like, oh, you want to hear something crazy? That was crazy. And he thought leaving that bear, the dead baby bear, would be funny to blame that on someone. Cutting off the head of a whale and strapping it to the roof of his car, and the juices went into the windows and drenched his kids. And this guy who claimed that he was not anti-vax, even though it's all over everywhere. He's on video saying it. I never said that. Roll the videotape. Everybody's got him saying. There's at least 10 different instances of him saying that. And I am not going to sit here and give Donald Trump credit for anything. But I will say that the Operation Warp Speed was successful in producing a vaccine that could be distributed to a large number of people and help to cut down the deaths from COVID that were racking our country. So, yeah, Trump is responsible for that. So the other day in court, in the Senate hearing, he was asked by Senator Kennedy if he agrees that Donald Trump should get the should get the Nobel Peace Prize for Operation Warp Speed. And Kennedy practically fell out of his chair, jumping up to say, yes, he should. And Kennedy was like, Senator Kennedy was like, well, okay, hang on a second. Then why is it that you are speaking out against it? I never spoke against it. Yeah, you did. Yeah. So this guy is just like the rest of Trump's cabinet, is a troll. There's no other explanation. Either you're that dumb and you just accidentally ended up picking the worst person for that job, or you're intentionally like that show, The Producers. There's a show called The Producers. It's a musical where they try to make this musical so bad that it bombs, and I think it's like an insurance scam or something. And unfortunately, it ends up being a big hit. And then there's more trolling. There's the director of the CDC and the Fed governor. I think her name is Lisa Cook. And these two people, again, he's going after them just as a troll. The Lisa Cook, the Fed governor on the right, she's not on record of attacking Trump or anything, but he wants control of the Fed. So he's launched some cockamamie charges against her, saying that she committed mortgage fraud. She did not. So she is suing Trump for that. excuse me, and the CDC director, Monterez, she was fired. She was fired for disagreeing with RFK Jr. and not and refusing to be a rubber stamp for his bullshit. John Bolton, who again, not a fan of John Bolton, but Trump has raided his home for classified documents. And again, this has absolutely nothing to do with anything. If he wanted to raid his home for classified documents, he could have done it back when he was still in office, because Bolton had left Trump's administration while Trump was still in office. He's canceled. As we know, he's canceled the Secret Service detail for not only Bolton, but also Vice President Kamala Harris, and for General Milley, who he said, he should face the death penalty. This is something posted by Donald Trump, the President of the United States. It is a stupid video showing Adam Schiff with an elongated neck. If this was a one-off, it was just one thing because he just happens to have this one thing against Adam Schiff, then hardy har har har. But even still, it's unseemly. It's unseemly for a president. This is the president of the United States. You want to be able to trust the judgment of the man who's got his finger very close to the nuclear button. But that's not a one-off, right? It's part of a theme with him now. So now he's posting pictures of Rosie O'Donnell with like a small face on a big head. And as previously mentioned, he writes, "We are giving serious thought to taking away Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. She is not a great American and is, in my opinion, incapable of being so." Why would he do that? I mean, this is a grudge he's been nursing since the early 2000s, if not earlier. Like, why are you wasting your time on this? One of the first things he said he was going to do was lower prices. That's the only thing he hasn't done. In fact, the prices have gone up under him. Then the picture on the right is a picture of Chris Christie and J.B. Pritzker as sumo wrestlers, also on his account. This is a Truth Social thing. It's weird. It's weird. I just have to share this because it's bizarre. And I don't think enough Americans are getting to see how weird this shit is. It's not being called weird enough. There we go. Here's a here's a Trump. Here's a Trumper right here. If you're not a Trumper and you're just being sarcastic, please let me know because I'm about to tee off on you a little bit. But we got Tony Navarro saying Trump is winning. And that, unfortunately, is why he continues to do stuff like that, because he's got a juvenile base. He's got a base full of people who never grew up. For whatever reason, they delight in sadistic, in just mean, cruel shit. These are the kids who were tying, cans to a kitten's tail, a stray kitten, who were, burning ants under a magnifying glass because they could, just mean, just being mean for the sake of being mean. These are people who are lonely, who don't have anything else. So watching someone else writhe in pain, there it is. Yeah. So Majid has TDS. Okay. So I don't care to entertain your bullshit. I don't have to. So I'm just gonna kick you the fuck out. Say bye-bye. Oh, here's another one. Okay. So apparently Donald Trump changed, or someone on his team changed the LinkedIn coding or whatever for the president of the United States, or actually for the White House, right? So if somebody listed the White House on their resume, on their CV, whatever, previously it would show maybe an icon of the White House, but they've changed it to his face. So LinkedIn was trending on Twitter the other day. I thought, why is LinkedIn trending? So I look and you see all these like major Trump influencers or whatever, and they're like, "Oh man, such a big win for Trump, man! Look at him, he's trolling. Oh, President Obama, now Obama's on his resume. It has Trump's face on it. This is huge. Like, why? Why? Where are the Epstein files? That would be huge. Bring down the price of groceries. That would be huge. Bring down the price of our electrical bills. That would be huge. End the Ukraine war in 24 hours, like you said. That would be huge. Say something mean about Vladimir Putin. That would be huge. You know? Say any one of those things. But this guy, the libs are losing it. Trump is a master troller in chief. He made sure anyone who has ever worked for the White House has his photo on their bio in LinkedIn. That and $3 will get you on the bus in New York City. So stupid. Oh, speaking of transportation, do you guys remember when the Biden administration announced that they were going to start, a program where you would be reimbursed if your flight was delayed more than 3 hours or if it was canceled? Well, Donald Trump has just decided to cancel that. Isn't that something? Huh? He can't find the time to lower prices, but he's found the time, like, he could go out of his way to go and cancel that. That doesn't make any sense. How does that help Joe Sixpack? How does that help Johnny Lunchbox, who's going to work every day, busting his ass? What are you doing that for? Because these big major airlines are having a tough time making our seats smaller and decreasing the amount of space we have for our knees, eliminating snacks and all that shit, huh? Charging us for every little thing. Come on. Oh. And for trans people, this is, I gotta get the trans topic is something that the Democratic Party has got to consciously wrap its arms around and get on top of this, because at the end of the day, we could be beating him on policy proposals and ideas and character and ethics and this and that and the other thing. We are not going to get past the trans issue unless we meet this courageously head on and set the record straight. The right has weaponized trans people. They want to throw trans people under the bus. They want to make it seem as though trans people are the root of all evil. They're the reason why you suffer. You're the reason why you have erectile dysfunction. They're the reason why your taxes are high. They're the reason why everything. They want to blame trans people for every freaking thing. They have the audacity. This is some crazy shit here. So, number one, the U.S. Air Force to deny retirement pay to transgender service members being separated from the service. What? You just want to punish them for being who they are? And this other one here, this is even crazier. This one is crazy. This is one of the craziest things I've seen in a long time. Trump DOJ is looking at ways to ban transgender Americans from owning guns. Why? Because every single mass shooting that we've had in the past, let's call it past 3 or 4 years, when it happens, the very first knee-jerk reaction from the right wing is, it was a trans shooter. We didn't even know who it was yet. They automatically assume it was a trans shooter. Before, 4 people who identify as trans involved in mass shootings in the past 20 years, 20 to 30 years. There have been 2,800 white males. I don't know if they're straight or gay. I don't know, have that distinction, but I know about 2,800 white males who have been responsible for mass shootings. And by mass shooting, that means 4 or more people have been shot. That's what qualifies as a mass shooting. So I'm saying this I hope there's somebody who's of importance in the Democratic Party listening to this. We're going to lose every single election until you figure out a way to communicate that trans people are not the enemy. They are not the devil. They only represent 0.1% of our population. There's not a trans person waiting around every corner to peek into your daughter's bathroom stall and show their junk. They're not lining up to participate in girls' sports. It's not a big, massive thing. They're making a mountain out of a molehill. And they're doing it because when people don't know, when they don't have information, they're scared. They fear whatever they don't understand. They don't understand this trans thing. So maybe it's time to educate people about it. It's time to have a serious conversation. You know, excuse me, the times have changed quite a bit in the past 30 years, right? When I was growing up, we didn't have pronouns, right? I'm 57 years old. We didn't have pronouns. And we did have trans people, come to think of it. We did. But people didn't understand that either. And often they were the object, they were a punchline to a joke. People did not respect them for the most part. They did think that they were weird. And weird is why, that's why the weird attack was so successful against Trump and Republicans. It was really successful because weird is how people see trans things. And we have to figure out a way to diffuse that bomb, or we're going to keep getting slammed in these elections. Sorry to go off on a tangent about that, but it is important. The Department of War. Yeah. He wants to change the Department of Defense to the Department of War because, in his words, if we were named the Department of War, people would understand that we can do offense also, not just defense, because obviously that's what our 10,000 nuclear bombs are for, is for defense, not for offense. That's what, all of our Black Hawk helicopters and our stealth bombers and our Navy and our Navy SEALs and our, that's what all that shit is for. That's why we spend almost $1 trillion in defense per year. That's why our military budget is more than all of the other budgets, military budgets from the other countries in the world combined. because we only do defense. Stupidest thing, one of the stupidest things he said this week, just today, he said that we should have won some of those wars that and presumably he's talking about the Korean War and the Vietnam War. And he said that we didn't because our military was politically correct and woke. Ironic that this motherfucker who had the audacity to have bone spurs as his excuse to exempt himself from the Vietnam War is now criticizing the people who had the courage to go to Vietnam and fight for this country. Audacity. It's insane. It's insane that he gets away with this shit. Another thing he got away with. The other day, the U.S. military destroyed a Venezuelan drug boat in international waters with 11 Tren-de-Aragua narco-terrorists aboard, the Trump administration says. Therein lies the problem, says, right? Because as Kenneth Roth posts here, he says, drug trafficking is a crime, not an act of war. Traffickers must be arrested, not summarily executed, which U.S. forces just illegally did. Previously, Trump falsely claimed, quote tweeted by Frania, Trump falsely claimed 250 Venezuelans he sent to a torture prison in El Salvador were Tren-de-Aragua members. Now he says this fishing boat belonged to the gang, so he destroyed it and killed 11 men. In both cases, he lacked proof and acted illegally. See the pattern? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And what does he do with this when you criticize what he does? He says, well, clearly you're against stopping crime. No, we're not against stopping crime. We're against stopping crime the right way, the way it's meant to be stopped, with due process. This is not a movie where you just go in guns blazing and just shoot and ask questions later. There's a reason we do things the way we do them, because if you're just going to go off of, just trust me, bro, that doesn't work. That means you can kill whoever you want to kill. And as justification, you say, well, he was a drug dealer. Where's your proof? We don't need proof. Yeah, you do. You need proof. This is the United States of America. You need proof. And then, of course, more trolling with Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker. Gavin Newsom, excuse me, that's another trolling thing. He calls Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, Gavin Newscum. He is the governor of the most populous state in the country, one of the biggest economies on the planet. And he refers to this guy as Newscum. And that's, again, what is the reason? What is the reason you feel that you need to troll people like that? How does it add value to your life? Same thing with J.B. Pritzker. So he's threatened to send National Guard forces to Chicago the way he did with Los Angeles. And that is despite the fact that a federal judge just said, that's illegal. What he did in California is illegal. And so, we might complain that Trump is getting away with stuff. And it does seem a lot. It does seem that he's getting away with a lot of stuff. But there is fighting going on. The fighting is happening in the courts. And no, it's not flashy and it's not sexy or whatever, but it's happening. It's happening. And I'm encouraged, if for nothing else, I'm encouraged to see that the good fight is still being fought in the courts. Yeah, so here, judge rules Trump illegally deployed National Guard and Marines to Los Angeles. But now, again, he's saying that he wants to send troops to Chicago, whether J.B. Pritzker likes it or not. And then he posts a video of Pritzker as a sumo wrestler. The National Guard, the crime was such an emergency in Washington, D.C., that our National Guard is actually landscaping. They're picking up, raking leaves, and they're throwing out garbage. And a lot of this was originally thought to be distraction from the Epstein file case, but might be part trolling and part distraction, because he gets points from his base from trolling, but he is in dangerous territory with the Epstein files. In fact, the Epstein files have stuck to him like nothing else has stuck to him since he has entered the public sphere. Since he has been, since he first ran for president, there were so many different things that popped up, locker room talk and thing he said about John McCain, he's not a hero, all the different things when he attacked the Gold Star families. Nothing ever stuck to him, not even his impeachments. He's got 2 impeachments under his belt. But this Epstein thing actually has stuck to him. And so the other day, the survivors, they gathered on Capitol Hill, and very brave, very brave. I don't know if I had the courage to do what it was that they did, because they're already in an uphill battle, because so many people are looking to attack them, to humiliate them, to make their lives a living hell. So what they're doing is very courageous. And what does Donald Trump do? He scheduled, and let me see, hang on a second. Let me grab this here. Give me a second. Story time. Where am I? Oh, okay. Here we go. Okay, so let's. No. Okay, so here was the moment when he sent his flyover jets to disrupt this hearing on Capitol Hill.
And then afterwards, I got a notification from the Department of Justice telling me that this was going to happen, when it had already happened. This woman abused children. I was abused by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for over 10 years. Ghislaine Maxwell was present for some of my abuse at the hand of Jeffrey Epstein. She was present, she was complicit, she was enabling, and it is appalling and disgusting. And it's one of my worst nightmares that she not only be transferred, but at the possibility that's very much going around that she might be pardoned. This is not okay, guys. This is not okay.
And I just want to add that I think it sends a very dangerous message to our country, to the young people in our country, that someone that we all know is aware of these crimes could be given a pass.
And just for the last one, the last survivor who just spoke, the last survivor who just spoke, she said that Epstein would brag about her relationship with Donald.
Okay, so he trolled them by sending a flyover. Now, you know, these are the people who were victims of Jeffrey Epstein, who is now deceased, but also Ghislaine Maxwell, who's in prison. You know who Donald Trump has not had a negative thing to say about? You know who Donald Trump has not posted disrespectful memes about? Ghislaine Maxwell. Isn't that weird? He disrespects United States senators, governors, law-abiding citizens. He won't say one mean thing about a child sex predator. If that's not telling you that he's guilty, I don't know what to tell you. And here's a cartoon. We're making our own victims list, and then the name at the top of the list is, and there's the plane roaring overhead. I don't know if you guys heard this, but yeah, they are talking of the victims. The survivors are talking about compiling a list of names of the people that they know for a fact they had dealings with, that they recognize or whatever. Problem with that is that I worry that it is going to be used to discredit if anybody comes up with a name that is wrong, that doesn't correlate with the official documents on file. They can use that just to poke holes in it. And if you start poking holes in one or two or three people, all of a sudden the waters are muddied. And then now they call them all liars. So I don't know. I would think I might think twice about that list. As much as I think initially thought it was a good idea, I'm not so sure anymore. And then, of course, on that day, he referred to the Epstein files as irrelevant. He said, "This is a Democrat hoax that never ends." Trump told reporters in the Oval Office when asked about the push for more transparency in the Epstein matter. "From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given." Mind you, those thousands of pages of documents that have been given were already given. These were things that we had already seen. We'd already seen the most recent partial dump. They're not dumping everything, they're just partial. They're just doling out what most people have already seen. Then he says, but it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Meanwhile, what he would rather talk about is the 2016 election. He wants to relitigate Russiagate, something that's like 2 elections ago. You want to talk about irrelevant? That's irrelevant, dude. You were already president from that election. The investigation that you said was fraudulent or whatever, your Secretary of State was one of the people who participated in that investigation. So, yeah, this deflection is a whole lot of bullshit. Let me wrap this quickly here. The Netflix show, The Thursday Murder Club, is a movie on Netflix. I highly recommend it to anybody who just loves good acting, who loves great actors, who loves great scenery, great writing, and a good mystery. Yeah, wifey and I couldn't figure out the whodunit in this. This was a very good, excellent movie starring Pierce Brosnan, Damn it, I can never remember her name. Give me a second here. Ben Kingsley. Shit. You know who she is. And then there's other actors there too. There's David Tennyson, John, what's his face? Damn it, what is her name? Helen Mirren. Thank you. It kills me. I can never remember her name. I have the same problem with John Lithgow. I can never remember his name either. Excellent, excellent, excellent movie. I think it's maybe just a hair under 2 hours. Well worth your while. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see the sequel to this movie. There hasn't been one announced, but there better be because it's fantastic. Fantastic movie. Samantha Hawkins reminding you folks to please smash that like button, please. Thank you for that. And Justin Willman, Magic Lover. This guy is very interesting. He's fun. I would call him rated G. He's very G-rated guy, but he's got some excellent skills. There's some scenes in this thing. It's like it's not quite a stand-up thing, but it is a live magic performance, and his performance is pretty impressive. I was stumped by just about everything he did, and I did watch several scenes from this show multiple times, and there's some kids that participate. There's a lot of audience participation in this, and it's fun. So yeah, this is nice, lighthearted fun. That's what that was. And this is what I am excited to see tonight. Highest to lowest, it is Spike Lee and Denzel Washington's first collaboration in almost 20 years since they did the movie The Inside Man, which was also a great movie. And this movie is about basically a super rich music mogul whose son is kidnapped, and he has to do what he can to rescue him. And Denzel Washington is easily, I think, in my opinion, one of the top 3 living actors, period. He's fantastic. Look how good he looks in that blue suit, too. Can't wait to see this. And there's also a great cast, including Jeffrey Wright. And there's a couple of rappers in here. Ice, it's not Ice T. What the hell is her name? Wait, I think I wrote it down. Ice Spice and ASAP Rocky are in this, amongst other. I think that's Rick Fox there in the lower right corner too. Rick Fox, and then there's the brother from The Wire in the bottom middle. Yeah, so I'm excited. Wait, is that Bill Burr? Bill Burr is in that too. So I'm excited to check this out. It's going to be on Apple TV. And last but not least, here we go with the dumbest Trump comment of the week. And here's my tweet from a couple of days ago. Good morning and happy Wednesday to everyone who agrees that Trump was lying his ass off when he denied knowing that people were celebrating his death this weekend, because he admitted knowing 20 seconds after he denied it. I heard that reports. It's wild that this is probably the worst press corps I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah. And so here's Peter Ducey queuing up this dipshit question for this dipshit. Here it is.
Something completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see you for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really?
I didn't see that.
You know, I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him. And we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now,
I heard that. I get reports.
you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors.
Yeah. So he is a liar, and he's going to keep lying with impunity because he's never punished. He's never punished for his lies. He's never held accountable for it, you know. And I've seen the press. They're able to do it with Democrats for some reason, with Democrats and with President Biden. They are able. They know how to do it. They know how to push back. They know how to say, "Hey, wait a minute." But with Trump, they're afraid that they're going to lose access. It's shameful. It's absolutely shameful. And he is the media is complicit in paving the way to his authoritarian uh, government rule. So I hope that we have enough patriots and enough, not only Democrats, because it's going to take more than Democrats, but Republicans and independents, and you know, enough real patriots to take a stand and say, you know, we don't owe our loyalty. We don't swear an oath to a king or a wannabe dictator. We swear our oath to the Constitution of the United States. Yeah, look at that. Tracy M. Nurse Mitch is old enough to remember when they rudely demanded Biden's health records. And I agree with you so much, Valerie G. Why can't he keep Joe Biden? You know why he can't keep Joe Biden's name out of his mouth? Because Joe Biden is towering over Trump in the favorability column. Donald Trump is languishing at the last, at the end, at the bottom of the list of best presidents. He is the worst president, and Joe Biden is at number 14, and Obama's at number 7. Yeah. So, okay, so you guys, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Bad. You got a question? If you have a question for me, let me know what it is. I think you already saw what I'm going to be watching tonight. And you know what I'm going to be eating. It's going to be frozen pizza. Frozen pizza with turkey, pepperoni, little slices or whatever that is. Lucy L says it was very enjoyable seeing you on PTO with Brian. Are you going to be a guest again soon? We hope so. Me too. I had a fun time with him. That guy is on the ball. He's very sharp. I enjoy. He has a good show. Oh, I forgot to tell you this. Those of you who have been watching Shrinking Trump may recall that I had not so long ago, but actually it was kind of long ago. I had one of the doctors on my show, Dr. John Gardner, and you know, I'm in touch with those guys quite a bit, and so next Friday, joining me on the show will be none other than Harry. Dr. What the hell is Harry's last name? Give me a second. Harry's last name is Siegel. Dr. Harry Siegel will be joining me on Storytime with BDD next Friday, same time as usual. Let's see. Yeah, Monique wants to know if I heard him say he wants to get into heaven. He ain't getting in. He is definitely not getting in. And Monique also says she is loving my TikToks. Thank you for that. You know, it's been tough for me to post anything on TikTok So what I have been doing is taking episodes from Storytime and slicing them up. There's an app that I use that makes it easier for me to slice these things up and to post them there. So if you're able to like and share those TikToks, that would be a tremendous help for me. So thank you very much. And guys, thank you once again for joining me for this week's episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Bad. And folks, I look forward to seeing you guys here next week. Remember, I'm going to have Dr. Harry Siegel from Shrinking Trump here with me next week. So look forward to that. I love you all. Peace.